this is the continuation of speaking with Joi Donaldson. She is a therapeutic sex educator. Her company is called Sacral, and I want to get right into it. We are talking about dick pics. Just give you a little context here. Earlier this year, I went on a self-love journey. You know, I live with major depressive disorder, and during that depressive disorders, I lose myself. My sex drive is gone. I think I'm fat, ugly, or whatever. And as I was coming out of my depression, I saw all these full-figured, fierce women who were like, I'm a model, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, my word. I was reading the book by Brene Brown called The Gifts of Imperfection. Something about seeing those women, the gifts of imperfection. I was like, why the F do I care that I'm over 200 pounds? I have always wanted to model since I was a little girl. I was like, I'm just going to try. So I post some pictures and people are like,
the good shock though. Oh.
Yeah. The first one, all I did was show legs. Then I was like, okay, girls, we're going to do a self-love journey. Yes. And so I'm gonna do something for my Valentine's Day for myself. I bought myself a red dress. I bought myself chocolate covered strawberries. Posted in pictures. You would have thought I was naked.
She's showing legs like it's the 1920s. Oh my gosh.
But then I was just like, then I did this. I never say this word right. Boudoir photo shoot.
Oh, boudoir. Yep.
Boudoir. It's fancy. So I did that. I was like, I literally I shit you not. I was like, who is that? It's like I felt like a rush of my sexy come back. And I was like, yes, you are a sensual being. It was such a major moment for me. I love that. So I was just like, okay, I'm a sensual woman, and that's okay. And the God of my understanding loves me. And so I've just been going for it.
Yes.
The flip side is I've gotten a lot of unsolicited dick pics. Unsolicited is the key word. So
unsolicited.
Unsolicited. So what do you think about this whole I'll slide in your DM, drop you a dick pic type of thing?
So here's the thing. Dick pics have been around since damn near the dawn of time. Even before
have they?
We had the ability to do pics because people with penises think that penises, not everybody, most people with penises, mainly cishet men, think that is the key to everything. And unless I am giving you enthusiastic consent means I am excited about this thing. I want this thing to happen. Yes, I'm participating actively in this thing. There is no need for you to send me anything if I have not asked for it. So
correct.
A lot of men think that is their way in, literally and figuratively. They think that, oh, well, if she sees this, she's going to be like, oh my gosh, where was that my whole life? And she's just going to jump on it.
That's exactly what it is.
No real understanding that women, cishet women, trans women, women on the spectrum, like women, however way we want to label that, we contain multitudes. So if all you're bringing to the table is dick, then it's not enough. And a lot of men don't understand that. Cishet men specifically do not understand that because they're like, well, I got the dick. So why is the thing that I want to happen not happening? A lot of them think that is literally a calling card, something that can speak for them when they don't know what to say, they don't know how to say it, and they're fearful of what that's going to look like when you actually have to have a conversation. So what I can appreciate about a lot of exchanges over the last few years where women have gone like, oh, you should go get that checked out. Like it's because I'm going to return that energy to you that you felt it was necessary on a Thursday afternoon to decide to send me this unprovoked. Because a lot of them just don't have anything else to share. That's really what it comes down to. They don't have anything else. They think that, oh, this person is going to get turned on by this particular thing. All you're really telling me is this is literally all you can bring to the table. You want nothing else from me. And especially when it's not consensual, this can be viewed as assault. this can be viewed as, if we really want to get into the legalities of things, that's how this can be viewed. I did not consent to this. To me without my consent. And again, enthusiastic consent, consent can be looked at as a blurry term, but it's actually not. It's just, we often feel awkward having that conversation. I still feel awkward as a sex educator, as a sexpert. I still feel awkward about that conversation because everybody has that conversation differently. And most cishet men lead with that because of past partners and they got excited about it, because of what we see in porn, because of what we learn as kids, that the penis is everything. Everything starts and ends with the penis. So if I just present my penis, everything else that I want in this life should happen. And if it doesn't, something's wrong with her.
Correct. Something's wrong with, oh, you don't want this? Something's wrong with you. You're bougie.
Because the girl that I did this 2 weeks ago was fine with it. Like, that's her.
Correct. I totally wholeheartedly agree. And I want men to know, and hey friends, we love interactive conversations. Yeah. Comment down below if anything down here you're like, yes, sister, or if you're a man, if you're like, what is this? Like someone like our friends, they'll be like, I've never sent a dick unsolicited. I'm like,
come on in, have a seat. Because
like, if you have because I've had too many men send me unsolicited dick pics, and it's exactly for what I feel it's the same. They're like, hey, look at this. Look, you want this, don't you? I even said in one of my vlogs, I was like, let's talk about, if I want to see it, I'm gonna be like, hey, here's why I think that consent, it is a consent issue, and why it's blurry. Because even in the physical, when we're in people's presence, we are rarely openly saying, can I do this thing to you? Do you want to have sex with me? We read body language. She got on the bed. She looked at me this way. And I'm going to take it there. We know that because we hear when things become legal and the cops are involved, we'll hear someone say, well, she was on the bed. Well, she came over. And so that's why I feel like we do need to have a conversation about what does it mean to consent to sex?
Yes. So it's completely understandable why that's such a gray area, because it's uncomfortable, it's awkward, but it's necessary. So it not only covers the person that you are having this interaction with, it also covers you. So yeah, it may not be quote unquote fun to go, hey, would you like to have sex? But it does not have to be clinical. It doesn't have to be cold. But what you do need to have is consent. Consent can be taken back whenever it is necessary. You could be in the middle of the act and go, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. That is you taking back your consent. There is no, oh, well, I'll let them finish, or they tell you, oh, well, we're already here. We might as well. Your consent is yours. There's no one that can tell you what your consent means. So there is no, oh, she was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or he shouldn't have been drinking that much, or they shouldn't have been up for it and then said they're not up for it anymore. Consent is fluid. Consent always changes. If that person is no longer comfortable, if they are no longer interested, if you know what, they just feel like going home, it's theirs. So you cannot take it away from them because they gave you a look, or they say, yeah, 30 minutes ago, surprisingly, is not right now. So you're going off of what's happening in the moment, not off of what they said to you earlier that day. People change, things change, times change. That person may have just gotten on their cycle. That person may just have an upset stomach. They may have had a bad day at work and the sex drive is down. Right, they don't want to anymore. So what makes it blurry is people attempting to usurp other people's consent from them, trying to take it from them because you weren't feeling that way or you aren't feeling that way anymore. So it gets blurry, especially in the heat of the moment, but it's on you as an individual to be clear with what you want, clear with saying what you do and do not like. And it is extremely difficult for women to say those things because, like men giving you dick pics, they have been taught intrinsically and intuitively that what the penis says goes. And so you're fighting against that thought process when you come into your space as a sexually evolved person to say, hey, I don't like that. Well, porn said you like this. I wasn't in that porn and neither were you. So no, I had an ex-partner who was really into, and I'm going to get a little lewd, so forewarning. He was really into the porn of like gagging, causing a woman.
That's a whole thing, apparently. Yeah,
a whole thing because my dick is big. It's like, no, you're just being mean. And there are spaces in porn that are literally torture porn, that are harm porn.
Wow.
They're it's not even a men thing. Like you have those that are into consensual rape and all those sorts of things. Like it's a vast thing.
Yeah.
But for someone that's been taught that penis is king, you've seen that is going to could potentially trigger something in your brain and go, oh, well, this woman likes it. All women must like it. Not taking into a fact that this woman is getting paid. She has allegedly consented to this, but things change in the act. And she could be dealing with something that she cannot say stop right now to because she's being filmed. Like those things aren't they're not going to put something up where the actress is like, you know what, I didn't like that. That's not going to go on Pornhub. So,
hold on 1 second. Oh, sugar, of course. Hold on. That's me being a bad interviewer. I forgot to turn off my FaceTime. Apologies. She's still there. Hold on. Let me go back. Hold on. Are you here? Yep, she's right there. My bad. All right. We'll do it live. I had a FaceTime call. My apologies. But you are speaking live. You're so right. And I'm so glad that you just gave a whole spectrum of that. Yeah. So we're talking about consent before my little FaceTime call. So how do we say, hey, this is what I like during sex, this, that, and the third? Because I don't think men or women know how to have that conversation.
It's very difficult to have that conversation because we look at things from the Madonna horror complex, especially with women. So, especially with mothers. I'm a mother. I have a 12-year-old. And I dealt with previously in relationships where you can't do this thing or you aren't supposed to enjoy this thing because you're a mother. And I'm like, how did she get here then?
Correct. You're right.
How did she? Okay. So it's getting through, and because I'm not going to say getting over, it's getting through the muck and the mire of why these conversations are so awkward, especially for feminine presenting women or women on the female spectrum, that it's very difficult. And it's been made difficult intentionally. So with the Madonna horror complex, what that means is women are put into two buckets. The Madonna, this is the one that you bring home to mom. This is the one that you want to your mom, you want to make her your wife. You want to, she's on this pedestal. And the horror is just that. That's the one that you allegedly have fun with. She lets you do whatever you want. She's just your own personal porn star. There's no gray area. So if you are someone who is sexually evolved, you have an understanding of what you enjoy, what you like, you've discovered those things about yourself. You have a healthy relationship with masturbation. You have a healthy relationship with sex overall. You have a healthy relationship with your body. You are connected in those spaces. You are a walking conundrum because you aren't supposed to know how to do that. You aren't supposed to know what that means. That's a man thing. That's not a woman thing. So, and if you are a man that doesn't lean into that alpha male, even though the concept of alpha male is completely misconstrued and it's outdated, even the person that came up with that concept even said it was wrong. But
we'll have to have a talk about that at some point too, I feel.
Yeah. If you are someone that identifies as a quote unquote alpha male, or you aren't someone that identifies in that space, then you're looked at as, well, what am I bringing to the table? So how to have those conversations starts with you having those conversations with yourself. What do I like? What do I enjoy? what don't I like? And that starts with really getting in touch with your body. J.T. Perry is someone else that I know. And she speaks a lot about the two women that I spoke of, Danielle Thomas and J.T. Perry. I featured them both in my first class, Don't Run From It. A lot of us, especially when it comes to self-pleasure, are very fearful of what you have the capacity to allow your body to do. I used to be somebody who would cut my orgasm off. I'm like, it feels too good, I don't like it. It's like I would get very uncomfortable with it until I really started getting into my sexology journey, really started acknowledging like, hey, you've been harmed. Things have happened to you that were not your fault. Let's unpack what that means. And then let's look at what sexuality means to you now. Once I started to really look into those spaces is when I was able to explore masturbation without the fear of what an orgasm is. A lot of people fear orgasm because, hey, it's the end of the session, or a lot of things go into an orgasm. Of there are 11 types of orgasm.
So I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there are 11 and counting types of orgasms. So because of what our bodies do in those times, you have no control. And if you are somebody who has dealt with assault, that deals with anxiety, I deal with both depression and anxiety. The worst thing you can be is out of control. Right. So for you, an orgasm, you're out of control. Yeah, you may be, you may be working with the pace. You may be telling yourself in your brain or your partner, like, hey, do this, try this pace or whatever. But once that orgasm hits, it's done. And that's scary for some people. And then having to open your mouth and go, hey, I don't like that. Can you try it this way? You're not only listening to yourself say that, you're also thinking about your partner's feelings.
Correct. Yeah.
That can also be very scary because you kind of fall into a few buckets with that. Has this person been doing this forever and nobody told them that it sucks? Has this person only got 2-3 moves and that's it, and they're not willing to try anything else? Is this person more open with their sexuality and is willing to listen? Like, it's a lot of things that you have to really contend with. So having those conversations, the best time to have them is not before sex. The best time to have them is in a casual setting, like how we're talking right now, or not briefly, but after sex. Because before sex it's things hot and heavy. It's
right.
Hot. And then right after sex, if you're in that afterglow period, to roll over and be like, was it good? And you kind of sitting there like, it's not the time to have it. So the best time to have it is you go into Trader Joe's and you're in the car and you're just like, hey, so remember a couple weeks ago when this happened? I was wondering, ... What you don't want to do in those spaces is, I don't like. That's something you do not want to do.
Yeah.
Your partner, whoever, hears the negative and they go into defensive mode. So what you want to say with my coworker introduced this concept to me when I first started working up here in Maryland was the sandwich method, where you start with a compliment, you add the critique, and then you end with a compliment. So, hey, I really love when you do this. I was wondering about this particular thing because this didn't really feel that great, but I loved how you did this. So you're giving constructive feedback while also complimenting them. So it does not immediately feel like, well, they ain't like nothing I did. You're not coming from, and you use your I statements versus your you statements. So that's how you begin to really have that conversation and go forward with that, where it is constructive and it's open. It's an open dialogue, because the same way you can critique, they should also be able to critique you.
Yeah, for sure.
And without you getting upset and going, oh, I've always been perfect. No, you haven't. No, you have not, Sib. And so
Right.
And that's how we evolve as sexual creatures, by taking in that and going, you know what? Awesome. And this is also where porn can be a good thing. Porn is, I have friends and people that I look up to and people I've actually interviewed in the porn sector that have, like, I have a friend of mine that I did a photo shoot for her back in 2018 and we're still close. She's an ex-porn star and a big name one, like homegirl was out before I even started watching porn. And so she's been around for a while, but
I respect it.
She's in this space where she is learning like esoteric ways of doing these things. And I had a couple sex therapy sessions with Jet Setting Jasmine, who is amazing. This beautiful Black woman that has a husband, and they're both in the porn industry, and they've carved out their own lane in the porn industry. So they have kids, and they're very open with their kids about sexuality. And they talk about these things, and it's not a shameful thing to us. Right. She's actually a certified sex therapist on top of being a sex worker, a porn star. And that's who I want to get my sex therapy from. Like, to be,
I was gonna think, hey,
if we're gonna keep it a buck. So, but in those spaces, that's where porn can be healthy. Ethical, there's a difference between ethical porn and porn for the sake of porn, the porn that we grew up with, the porn that we're used to. Ethical porn means that the porn star is being taken care of. Consent is always first and foremost, that the stars of the show are made sure that they are comfortable and that they consent to every single thing that's happening. It's educational. It's real. Those are the things that can help you as a couple. You want to really get into what this person likes, sit and watch their favorite porn with them. Figure out why they like that thing. There are things, there's something that I'm actually bringing to my Patreon soon. Why do we yuck other people's yums? Where do we, what is our hard no? And correct. Why is it a yes with them? Right. So in those spaces, when it comes to really finding out how you can evolve sexually, it's going to make you uncomfortable. It's going to feel awkward. You cannot avoid that unless you are a sexually liberated person and you just so happen to have somebody that's also sexually liberated. That's going to be the only time that it's not going to be like, and you sit there. A
lot of us are like that, yeah.
Right. Unless you have that person, it's going to be awkward. Lean into the awkwardness. Make it fun. Make it like, you stand in line at Trader Joe's and you're just like, but orange juice, like make it something that is a dialogue between you two and not a critique and not a criticism, not you suck at this. This is right. And unless you do have that scene, unless there is bad vulva out there, you can just be like, ugh. But
yeah,
you do have to consider the person's feelings, especially if you do care about them. So it's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. But think about how much better you're going to feel once you have those conversations, and then you're having the sex that you want to have.
Yeah.
That's the point. That is where you're going towards. What's stopping you is having that conversation, and you can be in the throes of having that, and you can moan a command and make it sound sexy. That person is going to be like, right. That person's gonna be like, oh shoot, let me do what they said. Oh, hold on, I like that. Like, and then
that's funny.
Yes, and then afterwards, you might be in the middle of pillow talk, or y'all sitting there in the afterglow and be like, I think you said that thing. I was
then you can
open that conversation more and be like, yeah, because I really like that. That felt really good. And then it's like, okay, let me put that in the pocket. So yeah.
Man, that was so beautiful. You obviously are very gifted and talented in this space. Like, I'm going to grow. I feel like my followers are going to grow. I'm going to put all your information for your Patreon below, which is an exclusive site, y'all. I told y'all, I just got on Patreon, and your YouTube channel. And then comment below if you'd like to have Joi back on the channel. Check out her channel. Maybe we do some cross promotion or something like that. Yes. But Joi, thank you for being you. You brought so much value to this conversation. Yeah.
Thank you for having me and trusting me to be here. I'm so grateful.
All right, friends, as we say here, Good Girl Chronicles, I love you. I love God more. See you next time.